Hey, welcome back. Third day in 2026. I hope all is well. In today's video, I just want to show you how powerful the McKenna's defense can be against one pawn to d4. For those who are not familiar with the McKenna's defense, this is where we just want to sacrifice the queen's knight after d5 and knight e5, say pawn to e4, we go pawn to e6. In this case, we just want to give up that knight like this. The idea is if pawn takes, this now results into a straight draw. Many people don't know about this, but there's no need for white to play g3 due to queen takes. We're going to win that. By the way, if queen e2, you just take the rook, and after knight f3, the key move in this particular position is pawn to b6. You need to remember this because you want to sacrifice your bishop and win the knight. That's the only way you can rescue your queen. But if white doesn't play pawn to g3, all you need to know is that this position is a drawn position. You just need to start giving your checks, perpetual checks on these highlighted squares with your queen. For example, if white plays king e2, you go queen h5, that's check, king d2, queen h6, king c3, queen c6 check, king b3, queen b6 check. If king f4, you have checkmate. King c3, it is actually here where you can go bishop b4 check and try to convert this into a winning endgame. Otherwise, you can still go queen c6 check, all up to you if you just want to get a quick draw. And after that, you have queen s6. Actually, again, if king e2, you have queen h6 check, king that, queen h4 check. So this is a theoretical draw, and it has been proven by masters and even stockfish. But in the same position, white may play king e3. There's one line I started 2 years ago, I guess, where you go bishop c5 check. By the way, you can still go queen h6, but let's just try to see this. Bishop check. If that's when you take. Note that there are not many squares where white can go to. Let's say king f4, what else can they do? This is when you can go queen h6 check. So the secret is when you reach these kinds of positions, you just have to be playing forcing moves. You have no option but to continue playing forcing moves. You don't want to start defending again. Like this is check. If there's bishop f2 check. Just think of forcing moves. You can't start defending again. If as a matter of fact, there's queen takes, and after that, you go d5 check. If king f4, again, there's a forcing sequence in this line. Knight e7, it's just a matter of time before checkmating white. When you play the McKenna's defense with knight c6 on the first move, there's a higher chance the game will transpose back to the Nimzo-Wish defense if white plays c4, because you just need to go e5. Most people play d5 in this position, after which you develop your bishop first. If knight c3, you take, and after pawn takes, you go knight c e7. This is what people play, by the way. Pawn to e4, you go d6, and if knight f3, you attack that pawn on e4. Bishop d3, knight g6, castle short, b6. If bishop that, you play h6. They always go back, after which you play knight h5. The idea is to plant one of your knights on f4, and if they think they can take a pawn for free, you have knight takes, and if queen takes, they lose a piece. If you want to know more about these kinds of tricks, feel free to get my Nimzo-Wish defense course. I'm not just marketing my courses here, it's for your own good, and that's if you want to improve your chess. How does this resemble the actual Nimzo-Wish defense? I want you to picture this position. Remember this position exactly. The knight on d3 and white's queen on h5. Say if white starts with e4, you can still go knight c6. If they play d4, you can play pawn to e5. In most cases, they advance their d pawn, after which you go knight c e7. If they play pawn to c4, you go knight g6. The idea is to relocate that queen's knight to the king's side. If knight f3, you go bishop b4 check. If knight c3, again you take. After pawn takes, you go pawn to d6, and say after bishop d3, you go knight f6. If bishop g5, you attack that bishop. They always play bishop e3. Then you realize they might play pawn to c5. That's why it is important to go pawn to b6. If a4, always close the queen side like this. Play a5 as always. And if castle short, again you can go knight h5. Point is, they can't take your pawn on e5 due to knight takes. And if queen takes, just like before, you take the free bishop and you're just up a piece. Remember what I asked you to do to keep this position in mind. Black's knight on d3 and white's queen on h5. So you can see we started with the king's pawn game and we were able to reach the same position. This is what most coaches don't tell you. This is called the Nimzo-Wish defense. Once again, you can find my Nimzo-Wish defense course at kasperchess.com or check on my Patreon page. You will still find it. If you don't trust my style of teaching, it is fine. Go ahead and check on Chessable or even on Chessly, whatever platform you desire, and just try to learn something about the Nimzo-Wish defense. You will thank me later. Now it is time for me to walk the talk to show you how to beat the queen's pawn game using the McKenna's defense. And just a friendly reminder, all of my courses are still on promotion. Yes, you still get 50% discount on all of them. That is, you will get a discount of 50% when you purchase any of my courses. Right. We go with the McKenna's defense. So this is how I force white players to go back to e4. So I go e5. They always play d5. Yep. Takes. Then knight c7. c3, d6, b6 is next, and f5, b6, knight g6. So basically this is now the Nimzo-Wish defense, and I have a course on this. How am I going to lose? I don't know. So let's go h6. I could have played knight f4 if I wanted, but I was waiting for white to castle short. There is an option to take and win 2 pawns. But another idea is to go pawn to g5 right away to open up the king side like that, because I would love to open up the king side. What if I just take this knight takes? So let's do this. And then take on e4, attacking the queen. Can give a check for now. And play pawn to f5. Holding on to my knight. And that's how we open up the king side. This is one of the reasons why I love playing the McKenna's defense, because it oftentimes transposes back to the Nimzo-Wish defense, my favorite opening, with black pieces. So now we are attacking the queen and we castle long. The idea is to create this battery. a5 is always useful to play. That'll be a free pawn. Yep. Well, not really free, but let's continue the plan. Now the idea is to play queen a7 by white. I know. That's why they played rook b2 on the previous move. So I want to attack my pawn on a5 and probably find a way to checkmate me on this side of the board, but it's not gonna work. You always need to think ahead of your opponents. I find this to be a 1-0 move because I'm gonna win the queen if white is not going to be careful. This is what I'm talking about. It always happens. And now I can attack the knight. There's nothing much going on here. So let's do this. The knight is free. I mean, there was nothing my opponent was going to do. They just resigned. By the way, I had this and that, and not to mention that I had so many things going on. In fact, I was just going to take the rook, sacrifice my queen, something like that. I was going to remain with 2 rooks. So that's how you play the Mikenas defense if you just want to transpose back to the king's pawn game. Let's try this again. We take on d2, then knight e7, d6, knight f6, and knight g6. I love playing knight h5 as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. Then attack the rook. Here I'm going to play queen g5. The idea is to go knight f4, given a chance. Yeah, I can still go knight f4, attacking this. The bishop, pawn can't take. It is pinned to the king. So now let's take. Oh, let's wait for the right time. We're going to see knight f3. Give a check. So the idea is for me to give a check on h4 with my knight. Keep in mind, I also have knight takes f2 in the near future, and I might win the queen. This is bad for white because this is checkmate. You guys, I don't know why some people underrate the McKenna's defense, but it really works. Trust me. So all you have to do is to study the Nimzo-Wish defense course. If you don't trust my teaching style, go on Chessable or anywhere else where you can find the Nimzo-Wish defense course and just study that course. I'm not just here to promote my courses or whatever. I'm just here to make your lives become easier. So go out there, look for courses to do with the Nimzo-Wish defense, purchase them and study them. Again, let's try the Nimzo-Wish. Why not? This time, this guy chose to sacrifice a pawn on b4. This was dubious. We always want to take if pawn to f4 is played, then attack that. This is still the Nimzo-Wish, so even though my opponent played a dubious opening, it will still count. Because our queen's knight is now sitting on g6. And I'm ready to attack that bishop, by the way. I'll be glad to take. Oh, let's do this. If bishop takes, I have knight takes, that'll be check. Can take right away. And cast a shot, putting my king to safety. This is why you don't want to play dubious openings. So this is check. Let's open up the king side like that. Queen f6. The idea is to take on c3. Also paving the way for my a rook. So let's do this. The idea is to give a check and checkmate. Very simple chess. People have eyes, but they don't see. Let's try this again. This time we have the typical McKenna's defense, and I want you guys to see how to beat d4 with the McKenna's. If pawn to f5, I'll go queen h5 check and win the pawn on e4. That didn't happen due to my opponent's last blunder, so I can just safely take that and play pawn to d6. Okay, so bishop e7. Pin the knight. I'm tempted to take, but let's go bishop h5 for now. I'll take anyways. I have %. Bishop f6. Knight e7. And castle short, putting my king to safety. g6, not allowing anything for free. Now I can play this move. The idea is to take on e2 and attack the rook and win the knight. Oversimplification should always be your key. Knight takes, bishop takes, and knight g6. The idea is to position my knight here. I know they want to play this move. Let's allow them. g6 to stop that knight f5. Protect the pawn on f4. Maybe that wasn't enough, but guess I'll do something. I need to do something else. Give up that pawn. Attack the rook. If there's anyone who has some gameplay in this game, it is moi. Ready to go pawn to f5. f5. And that's how we get back a pawn. I lost a pawn, but I'm going to get it back. In fact, I can even do this. White can't take my pawn on a5, but I can take the b4 pawn. Have check, and that. h5 for now. And h4. So I want to give a check here. Probably I'll play that move. This pawn is not going anywhere. There's a rook. So let's give a check. Maybe it's going somewhere. I'll take the pawn on b4 if queen takes. All I know is I'm supposed to win this game, because there's nothing much my opponent can do. Maybe a draw? Give a check. I allowed white to promote because I saw this draw sequence. That wasn't good. Now check this out, you guys. If you want to learn more about these kinds of tricks or similar opening ideas like the ones I just shared, you can watch this video that has popped up on the top left. Another video that I highly recommend you check out to skyrocket your rating is this one that has popped up on the top right. But if you love Gambit videos, you can check out the video that has popped up on the bottom left. And if you are a lover of chess traps like myself, feel free to click on the video that has popped up on the bottom right.